So, stablecoins, they are a very popular topic around the world. People talk about stablecoins. They're also sometimes controversial, such as with USDT and Tether. So let's talk about what each of you are all doing or considering doing in the stablecoin space. So we're going to start with Matt Dickson, because people know you, Matt, for your company's work with casino game technology. What are you thinking about that crosses into the world of stablecoins, and what can you tell us about it?
Sure. So our soon-to-be-announced and released stablecoin, we basically got a bank to issue us a pooled bank account that many, many people can funnel money into. And then as the money hits the account, we mint a stable token running on BSV, and it's actually FDIC insured in the United States by the US government. So
that's awesome. All right, I know you've been working on this for quite some time. When might we be able to expect this to get active?
I think you're going to see it any day now, actually.
Okay, well, you'll have to let me know when it goes out any day, because we'll be tweeting about it up a storm. All right, Daniel, I know you've been working on something up your sleeve, because we've been talking about it for a number of months. Tell us about what your current company does and what you are in the process of doing with respect to stablecoins.
Sure. So GAP600 enables instant recognition of Bitcoin and other digital token currencies, just providing a financial guarantee, bridging the period of time from when a transaction is published till it's accepted in the blockchain, enabling instant commerce. We process around 250,000 transactions per month, primarily servicing payment processes in the space. We've been passionate about Bitcoin SV, and
since the hash war.
Since the hash war.
I remember you from CoinGeek London, the first one right after the hash war ended.
Yes, and obviously the passion of executing and enabling on the original Satoshi vision of Bitcoin, and the enablement of a global, massively scalable protocol. So those things for us is a work of passion, both within GAP600. And a major factor for our passion for Bitcoin SV is its approach to adoption, which we think is the most compelling approach out there, which is an approach via blockchain services of utility and usability, and as such, eventually achieving greater economic freedom and greater economic prosperity. So when we started, we've had a lot of experience with multiple protocols. When we started recently researching some token protocols on Bitcoin SV, we started to understand that there's a huge potential to create further utility and further blockchain services using these token systems and using stablecoin, which we think can provide massive value.
And are you launching a stablecoin?
So we're building out a separate brand, which will be together with GAP600.
Right.
And we're hoping for Q4 of this year, we're going to be launching the service, and it'll be a stablecoin platform, which will focus on issuing multiple stablecoin issuances, so different currencies, and we'll offer the onboarding and the offboarding from the traditional banking environment.
Which major fiat currencies can we expect to see initially a stablecoin?
So we're going to be, so obviously US dollar, then we'll be doing Swiss franc.
Okay.
And,
yay, Switzerland.
Yeah, Switzerland. Switzerland's great. And then euros, sterling, and then it'll be a function of demand and compliance.
Great. And I want to take this moment to publicly thank you, which I've never mentioned publicly, for your attempted efforts to broker peace before the hash war back in 2018.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for trying.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Richard. Richard, you have a very fascinating background. Tell us very quickly about that and what Alt 5 Sigma does, and then we'll get to the stablecoin issue.
Thank you, Jimmy. It sounds like there's a lot of opportunity here, and I think Daniel and Matt and I should have a chat perhaps afterwards. My background is about 35 years. I guess I'm the old guy on the block in the securities business. I started 2 firms from zero and sold them to banks, and I've been drafted to join Alt 5 Signal by some friends of mine and some of the founders. So we're very happy to be here today. Our plans on the coin is we're going to partner with a Australian-based company called Tokenized. As well, we're going to be partnering with a US bank of significance. And it'll be an open protocol with full KYC, and all the legal framework will be in place. So we haven't announced this yet. We're at the contract stage, and we should be going live in Q3, possibly Q4 this year.
Great. And what fiat currencies are you intending to create a stablecoin that's associated with?
Yeah, I would say we're going to start with US, Euro, and perhaps even some Southeast Asian currencies for obvious reasons.
Okay, great. So let me ask all of you this question. Why get into the stablecoin or stablecoin-like business? What is the value to you from a business perspective? We'll start with Matt, because you have a very different reason for it.
So for us, we're in the regulated gaming market. We are trying to make it easy for a cashless ecosystem inside land-based casinos and for online casinos for that matter. And for us, we just need to be able to efficiently pass around the equivalent of a US dollar so that people can move money in and out of the casinos.
Great. Daniel, why start a separate branch of your business to get into stablecoins?
Well, if you've had experience with Bitcoin and Bitcoin SV, especially the ease of use and the comfort of actually making a Bitcoin transaction with PayMail and between phones, and the setup of an account is extremely efficient.
Yeah, super easy.
Super easy, extremely efficient, and extremely comfortable. And so we foresee a true explosion of all sorts of applications in Bitcoin SV. Using that platform for payments, using that platform for services, and having a native payment aspect in a currency which everyone is comfortable with and which is absolutely dominant, we think there's value add there. And by appealing for mass adoption, which is the clear goal of Bitcoin SV and the clear goal of us, you need to engage with what people are comfortable with and what people are using. And fiat-based currency is the absolute dominant use of payments.
So Richard, the Alt5 Sigma company's main core business right now is essentially a back-end exchange-in-a-box solution. Why get into stablecoins?
Well, interesting question, Jimmy. We have many clients from years gone by that are quite sizable that have extremely significant problems in payments with letters of credits, guarantees, verification of goods at port, etc. And the pandemic has only exacerbated this. As we all know, there's supply chain issues almost everywhere in the world now. So some of them have actually come to us and said, look, we'd like to join the blockchain and we'd like to have a more efficient payment system rather than these archaic letters of credit, etc. How can you help us? So we think that by introducing this to a lot of our trading clients that trade in goods overseas, that this will be a wonderful solution. It has complete transparency. It doesn't have the volatility as many of the cryptos do, as you know, and it'll be backed dollar for dollar. So we're very bullish on this.
So the world already has a number of stablecoins. So for example, USDT, our favorite stablecoin here in the BSV ecosystem, Tether, is available on 8 chains, and that was facetious, by the way. Algorand, BCH, EOS, Ethereum, Liquid Network, Omni, Solana, and Tron, and USDC is available on Ethereum using ERC20's token protocol, Algorand, and Solana tokens. So with those two main, at least US, dollar-denominated stablecoins, what do you think the competitive advantages are for your business using BSV to create a stablecoin? We'll start with Daniel.
So we think that stablecoins is going to be a massive industry eventually. And so there's going to be room for a lot of players in our concept. The current implementation of how stablecoins in general, the cryptocurrency industry, is primarily speculative investment with some gaming and gambling aspects online. That's the primary use case. And so all these stable coins are designed and built to support, primarily to support speculative aspects for supporting those cryptocurrency aspects.
Pump up coin prices, are you suggesting?
Possibly to, one could say that. And as well as there's also a use case in the settlement space, in the payment process, in gaming. We think that we have an advantage. It's definitely not an exclusive advantage, but we have an advantage of being intimately familiar with Bitcoin, of Bitcoin SV, of certain protocols and aspects which are powerful. And so our advantage when we start to compete will primarily be on our positioning and our business strategy and our focus on Bitcoin SV, where we see that as being the most compelling option of reaching mass adoption. So if you're going to join the right train that's going to reach mass adoption...
This is the train.
This is the train.
Is it because of transaction capacity and low fees compared to the other chains, which
well,
you would need, right, for high volumes of stablecoin transactions?
Well, I think the correct term that we're looking for is scalability. Yeah. So the cheap fees and the ease of use, that's a characteristic of scalability. You're not going to scale unless it is extremely cheap. For stablecoins to be compelling, they need to be as easy as paying in cash by hand.
Right. Electronic cash.
Electronically, exactly.
Right.
Electronic cash. And we think that BSV has a compelling chance of reaching that.
Matt, what do you see and how would you position what you're doing to be competitively advantageous to the existing stablecoins on the market?
Due to the fact that we're operating in regulated casino environments, we made a system that was 100% KYC compliant. You can actually only transfer our token from one wallet that's been KYC'd to another. And I think that's a big disadvantage to a USDC or a USDT in the casino world right now, because you can't have a token that runs in a non-custodial wallet that doesn't go through KYC processes. So because of the nature of how BSV works and how we've structured our product, we can actually add that extra layer of security and stability into our token protocol.
Got it. Richard, how would you see what you're doing as competitively advantageous to the existing stablecoins?
Yeah, so Jimmy, I guess there's about 200 plus stablecoins out there. I don't have the exact count. Perhaps you know better than I do. But again, echoing our previous comments, the KYC and micro trading and costs, as well as the scalability and speed. At the end of the day, if you want institutions and big companies to adopt this, it has to be completely transparent. It has to be completely in line with existing regulations, whatever countries we're doing business with, and it has to facilitate transactions. And at the end of the day, with BSV and our partners in Australia, as well as our banking partners, we think we've got quite an opportunity. So we're extremely excited about being here.
Let's talk about regulatory compliance, because that is the probably most important issue to consider if you're trying to create and issue a stablecoin. Can you give us a broad description of what steps that your company is taking to ensure that your stablecoin would apply with whatever laws for the jurisdictions in which it's used? What have you been doing? I know you've been talking to a lot of lawyers, Daniel.
Yes, I've been talking to a lot of lawyers. So, as I mentioned, we're interested in mass adoption. And mass adoption requires compliance and regulation. And that's part of the reason why, we're looking at a group structure of being domiciled. And part of the reason that we've chosen to domicile here in Switzerland, in Zug.
You're going to join us in Crypto Valley.
I'm going to join you in Crypto Valley. And that's partly because Switzerland has a extremely powerful brand, is extremely strict, but is extremely clear. It's very clear what needs to be achieved and what can be done and how you need to follow it. So it's a process, and it's a complex process. And banking relationships are extremely complex process. And but we think we found the right route, and we're busy cracking it and cracked major parts of it. And so, yeah, that's the route. So we'll be domiciled in Switzerland, and then as we look to advance further, we'll look for other jurisdictions.
And how are you going to address the question that comes up about demonstrating your stablecoin is actually accurately backed by cash equivalents, or something or other out there?
The first step is that we will be completely compliant with FINMA regulations, and that's very clear. We need a very strong banking relationship, and we need a very strong banking guarantee actually behind the stablecoin. Okay. There will also be SRO affiliation, which is the further aspect of compliance. And then obviously we'll have regular, reputable, audited aspects of the issuance and the bank guarantees.
Would you make the audits public?
Yeah, absolutely.
On the blockchain? On the blockchain, maybe?
Absolutely.
Okay. Richard, obviously your company's been looking at this. Can you give us a broad overview of how you would commit publicly, including to regulators, to ensure that you are compliant with your stablecoin?
Jimmy, it's interesting. The Bank of England just made an announcement in the past few days about stablecoin compliance. So it's very timely. With our banking partner, we'll be licensed with FINRA in the United States, and we'll have whatever licenses we need in Canada to comply. And yes, absolutely. In terms of trying to get institutional and mass adoption, it has to be completely transparent. So whatever the regulators need, they will get. And that's the only way to go as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us anything about how your company would address the need to assure the public, as well as regulators, that there are sufficient reserves to back the number of stablecoins minted?
Well, in the securities business, Jimmy, we had monthly filing reports, and in fact, we can create, if they don't obligate us, we can create our own monthly filing report, and it can be jointly signed by our banking partner as well as ourselves, and filed with the regulators if they require it. But we can do that and publish it online. That's not an issue. It has to be completely transparent, no question about it.
Got it. Matt, your approach is somewhat different given that you're already in a regulated industry. Can you tell us anything more about the kind of steps your company is taking to not just be regulatory compliant, but compliant plus?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, our token is actually represents your share of a specific bank account. So because of the extremely regulated nature of the casino industry, we created a product that could only be passed from KYC wallet to KYC wallet. When you sign up for our product, the bank knows who you are, and instead of basically issuing you a paper statement indicating what you own at their bank, they just give you cryptocurrency. We give you cryptocurrency that represents that. So I think we're very unique in how we actually back up our token. It's really your bank account. So.
Right.
And then, of course, we have very strict BSA AML policies that we're putting into place right now. And the fact that you can only transfer that token from KYC wallet to KYC wallet. There are so many layers of compliance built into our token. It's very unique in the industry right now.
Yeah, you have a different approach than just having a token there, where you're relying on the issuer to have reserved assets. Really, your token represents the owner's share of a pool of assets.
Exactly.
So let's talk about this question, which is one that I get asked, and that I asked on your behalf, some of you, because you were asking me to approach some of the BSV applications out there in the world to find out, would you be interested in supporting a BSV-based stablecoin on your application, for example, one of the game or social media applications out in BSV, in addition to or in lieu of native BSV? What's your feelings on whether or not users as well as application providers should be supporting BSV-based stablecoins in addition to the use of native BSV?
So I would say users shouldn't need to be encouraged. Users should be incentivized. If it makes sense to them, they should use it. And we're focusing in the payment space. So payments is everything, is absolutely common, and everyone needs it and uses it and makes thousands of payments a day without them even being aware of it, or hundreds. And so we just think that the efficiencies of building on BSV and certain token protocols will be compelling for use cases irrelevant to BSV. And as I keep on harping on about mass adoption, that's what the relevance is here, is necessarily outside. Obviously, we're going to grow from within the BSV, but the comfortable use cases and exciting applications should have the option of BSV or stable or fiat-based payment rails.
Well, you want to see usage beyond current BSV enthusiasts, so that a consumer seeing, a coin to be used on an app knows it's USD, whatever you're going to call your coin,
Yes.
and they probably won't even know or need to know that it's built on BSV as a ledger.
Absolutely, and we think that there's these efficiencies that we experience as users when scaled up in payment processing and within applications actually boils down to lower costs, lower management costs, and just general efficiencies for a whole industry. There are, obviously, payments exists significantly, and there are all sorts of methods of aggregating payments and virtual accounts and payments and global payments. And by using the Bitcoin SV as the rails to enhance this industry, we think there's great efficiencies that can be provided.
Yeah, because a lot of use, for example, of the current stablecoins like Tether is just to trade for other cryptocurrencies as opposed to actually pay for something. So the vision is build a stablecoin that can be used by the masses. They don't care at all what blockchain it's built on because they don't know it's underneath the hood, the infrastructure, digital plumbing I talked about to start the day. And that's how you get much wider adoption when you're going to a game, for example. You just want to pay with a digital coin. Richard, what do you think about that? I mean, how much are you even going to market the fact that your stablecoin is even built on BSV? Does it even matter to you?
Yeah, we love BSV and the transparency, the accountability, the institutional protocol, the open protocol, and the fact that the transaction costs are extremely nominal. And once again, if you want mass adoption and institutional sponsorship and usage, it has to be completely transparent. If it's not transparent, and if we don't encourage more groups and people to use it, then we're doing the wrong thing.
Got it. Matt, what about you for what you're doing, which is very unique? How much does it matter that the end user or the other businesses in the chain of payments even know that it's BSV?
Oh, I don't think they have to know it all. But I think I'd like to echo something that Daniel said. This is all about payment processing at the end of the day. Giving people fiat on-ramps to get the stable token, and then once they have the stable token, you've basically eliminated the need for money transmitters and all the expense that comes along with that. So by using BSV, you create a very, very efficient payment processing network using stable tokens.
Got it. And Daniel, are you looking for capital?
Yeah, have you got some? No, we're
some people watching out there or in this room might have some.
So
I know these things because I talked to you.
I would say so. We're definitely we're self-funded, and
Yes.
GAP600 is established and cash flow positive.
Fine, long professional experience.
But so we're definitely going to look to scale things up. And we're looking to reach certain initial milestones, and we definitely would consider, obviously, strategic partners. And so we're definitely not looking at doing it all on our own. We're looking at adding value to other businesses and growing with the ecosystem.
Great. Let's talk about Matt Dickson and BitBoss. What are ways in which other companies in the BSV ecosystem, or even beyond, who might be watching this, be able to partner with your company with respect to this stablecoin?
So I think any company that's really looking to have wallet functionality with the stable token built into it for payment processing should definitely come and talk to us, whether it's social gaming, retail, it doesn't much matter. In the travel industry, there's, back in the old days, Club Med used to have beads that you'd wear around when you went on vacation there. something like that, but running on BSV using a stable token, basically the same concept. So there's all sorts of different use cases for our platform that can be plugged into any kind of business out there.
Got it. So you're looking for businesses to talk to you about use of your stablecoin for their payments or other maybe rewards or type services.
Yeah, absolutely. We've also built in debit card processing and payment processing. We have a relationship that we've created with a US-based exchange, so our token is now listed. So whether
Can you tell us what exchange?
Yeah, it's Acquire.
Okay, fantastic.
So whether you're looking to accept, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whether you're looking to accept bank transfers or whether you're looking to do debit card transactions, it all gets converted to our stable token. And that stable token then moves efficiently around whatever ecosystem you have, whether it be social gaming, travel, regulated gaming, online casinos, online sports books. It's a very nicely designed, very efficient platform.
Great. So Richard, once Alt5 Sigma launches your stablecoins, what kind of business partnerships would you be looking for around the world?
Well, we would be delighted to have shipping, transport partnerships, companies that import a sizable amount of goods and services on a regular basis. Anyone in the supply chain is actually a perfect candidate. And echoing some of the other comments is the whole question of payments. And in many industries, it's still very archaic. So it'll take some time, and Rome wasn't built in one day, but certainly stablecoins will increase the flexibility and efficiency and hopefully reduce costs and risks, as well as disputes. We don't talk about disputes that much, but there's a lot of disputes out there with respect to goods and services. And a stablecoin on the BSV could certainly reduce the amount of disputes and legal quagmires that are created.
Okay. And I'll end with this question to all of you. How are you going to deal with getting wallets to include, adopt, support your stablecoin?
Well, that's definitely a challenge. Our focus is so we're highly integrated within the BSV ecosystem, and we're looking to partner with extensive players in the BSV ecosystem. And so we've obviously already checked and discussed, and there seems to be significant interest in stablecoin adoption and stablecoin testing, as this is what it's all about, and testing it in the market and understanding what's going to add value.
Great. Richard, what about you?
Well, we're gonna create or buy our own, as well as partner with the best that are out there.
Fantastic.
All of the above.
Great. I'll give you some names. Matt, what about you? You've got more of a unique situation.
Yeah, so for us, we have our own wallet, and obviously we're very tightly integrated with our own product. Due to the nature of how it works, I think at this point, our own wallet is our main focus. We also have an online gaming platform where casino games are integrated directly into our wallet. So we have kind of all the bases covered in the regulated gaming space right now.
Great. And I'll end with this last question for Daniel, which is really not about stablecoins, but going back to the moment that I mentioned before, the end of the hash war that led to the BSV-BCH split. As someone who was there at the time, what do you think of where we've come in the BSV world?
I think it's quite phenomenal, the development that's been then. It was an extremely painful period, extremely complex period. Yes. In the whole digital asset crypto world. What we've seen over the past 3 years, something like that years.
It's like dog years. It's like
21
I feel like
years.
it's 21 years.
We've seen.
I actually got a gray hair as an Asian person, so yeah.
As George said earlier about patience and persistence.
Patience, yeah.
And focusing on quality and on utility, and you've seen a range of services and platforms and companies slowly building up and developing. And you definitely sense momentum. And
now is our time.
Now is our time. Now is always the time.
Yeah. All right. Thank you to all of our panelists for this really enlightening panel, and I can't wait to see all these stablecoins launching, because I'll probably just have a bunch of different stablecoins on my various wallets from all of you to try them all out. Let's give a round of applause to our speakers, Richard Groome, Matt Dickson, and Daniel Lipshitz.
Imagine in 1997 paying for something with your watch. Remember the last time you used cash? The world has been digitized. Almost.
Cash was once seen as the last bastion for reform, but now is on the decline. Digital transactions have outcompeted hard currency since 2017 in the UK, but breakthrough bold technologies like blockchain have revolutionized more than just money.
Disruptive technologies call for disruptive lawyers, ones that don't just accept the trend, but find new ways of interpreting the law. We are currently the only global law firm with a real track record in the area of Bitcoin and blockchain. We are results-driven and care only about securing the best possible result for our clients.
We trace the supposedly untraceable. We pioneer the future of law. We deliver new solutions. We are law changers.